Socialites! Welcome back to our channel. My name is Angie.
And I am Carol.
And welcome to episode 13.
Which apparently is a lucky number here. Not really lucky, but
it depends on who is saying the number. So if it's like a Chinese person, then it doesn't really mean too much. But if it's a number 4, then it's unlucky.
yeah. Because to me, like, not really to me, but I think the rest of the world, 13 is like an unlucky number.
Yes.
So when I remember when I moved here and I saw like 13 in the floor, it's like, why?
Yeah. But funny you should say that because today's episode is going to be about crisis.
Oh yeah.
How ironic.
Oh.
So yeah, in today's episode we'll be talking to you about how to handle a social media crisis, touch wood, if it ever happens to your brand. And of course, since the last episode I danced to Zumba, I felt like it's only right that Carol gets a chance to impress everyone with her dancing skills because Zumba is her passion, her love.
Not passion.
I know that.
I mean, just that, you know.
She loves to dance. Yeah. Okay, so are you ready?
No.
I am.
Okay. But if it's your first time to watch our channel, watch our video, please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. We are also on Instagram at Social Hits. Disclaimer, do you want to leave them a disclaimer?
So yes, disclaimer guys, we are just here to have fun. We are not professional like dancers, we're not professional like fitness people, but we are fitness enthusiasts. We love working out, we love dancing, and of course we love social media, and that's why we're here to share our knowledge with you. So please be supportive in the comments and follow us on our social media platforms. I hope Universal Music doesn't like flag that as like a copyright. Well, let's get to dancing. Okay, so today we are talking about crisis. Now, social media crisis, as with any crisis that might arise with any brands, is not uncommon. There will be certain instances when a potential crisis can happen. So these are just some of the 6 tips or 6 information that can better help you prepare if a crisis ever happens for your brand on social media. So the first point is like, what is a crisis? So a crisis can really take the form of many different things, but at the same time it can also be something as minuscule as a small complaint. So a lot of times, as with people, we have a lot of emotions, and a lot of times, sometimes those emotions can be taken out of proportion, and a potential crisis might happen, right? It could be a small complaint about a brand, it could be like cleanliness, it could even be like a very big crisis that is happening around the world. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Technically, it is also a form of crisis. But specific to social media crisis, a lot of times it could arise from a small complaint. It could even be something as let's say for example, like a fast food restaurant that sees like a rat, or like someone online posted a picture of an employee doing something that is not right. That could also be a potential crisis. So in essence, how do we identify a crisis? So there are different tools on the market, whether free or paid, where you can search for a potential crisis. And a lot of times, some of these tools are probably social media conversation tracking tools. So there are social listening tools on the market, things like Meltwater, Talkwalker, even like Social Bakers or like Digimind. These different tools can definitely be the ones where you create keywords or search topics that can search for conversations which might be a potential crisis. That's one. The other thing could also be from your own community management. So when you are doing community management for your pages, you can also look at potential crisis, or you can basically identify potential crises that might happen from your complaints, from your private messages, even from your comments. And a lot of these times it's not just focused on your own branded pages. There are also certain conversations that you have to take into consideration outside of your social media channels that can potentially be a crisis, which is also important for you to have as a brand a social listening tool that can help identify those. So the third point is what to do when a crisis happens. So a lot of times there are different processes that you can create. There are also templates on Google that you can search to create processes for a potential social media crisis. But first and foremost, there are a few steps that you can take. First being making sure you have tools or you have capabilities to identify specific keywords that will arise for a crisis for your brand. For example, if you are a fast food restaurant wanting to set up a process for a crisis management tool, right? It could be looking for keywords such as bad or rat, or like different 4-letter words, or like different types of complaints. Compile it so that you will be able to track these conversations. The second thing to take into consideration is to really make sure that you have proper escalation processes when it comes to your crisis management or your community management. So this would include things like how do you address the potential complaint or the potential crisis, and what other escalation process do you need to create. So step number 3 would be like, what parties do you need to pull together in the time of the crisis, so that there are proper steps and proper escalation processes that you are taking to help address the current issue. And a lot of these times it is also important for you to have analysis and reporting. It could be a daily reporting, it could be an hourly reporting, just to look at the trend lines when it comes to the conversations that are happening surrounding your potential crisis. So this is when you can decide whether the crisis is on a very big global scale like a COVID-19 crisis, or a very small scale which is just a complaint. So then you can classify, if it's just a complaint, what type of answers should you then respond to this complaint. If it's like a global pandemic type of COVID-19 crisis, what type of conversations do you need to have to help fix the crisis? And of course, I'm also going ahead, which brings to my 4th point, which is the escalation process. So escalation process is so important because you need to understand what parties you will need to bring in when a crisis happens. Who do you need to talk to? Not just your customers. Do you need to talk to legal? Do you need to bring in your PR? Do you need to talk to your content peeps, your social media conversation? So many different people that you might need to bring in when a potential crisis happens to your brand. So this escalation process really makes sure that you are following the proper protocol. And of course, at the end of the day, it's all about SOP, right? You need to have proper SOPs in place so that you are crisis prepared. And a lot of times when people are building their social media management, crisis is a portion that they normally would neglect because they never believe that it would happen to their brand. And that's the biggest misconception that people might have, because at the end of the day, it's social media, it doesn't sleep, and a crisis might happen at any time. So it's really important that we don't forego this process. And of course, number 5 is all about crisis monitoring. So if a crisis happens, how are you going to monitor the happenings of your crisis, right? There are certain tools that you can invest in that basically tracks conversations and sentiments. It gives you word clouds. It also breaks down which particular platforms those conversations are happening. And these tools are really what helps fuel your business when it comes to crisis monitoring, because it helps you identify the places or the platforms that these conversations are happening. It also helps you or guide you in terms of the type of content that you need to create to address the crisis. So I've said earlier in my earlier points, right, you can look at tools like Digimind, there's like Meltwater, there's even tools like Social Bakers that also looks at your own platforms as well. So these different tools, they also have sentiment analysis that can help you address certain issues for your brand. And of course, this brings me to my last point, examples of a crisis. I mean, like, at this point in time, there will be a lot of crisis. There's a few examples of crisis, at least. The biggest being our COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, in last year, 2020. So other crises that I have seen on social media is, of course, who can ever forget, like the Malaysia Airlines crisis. Even most airlines have had their fair share of social media crisis as well. Even some brands like fast food brands may also have seen some sort of crisis. A lot of times, I do remember KFC having a very big crisis many years ago, even McDonald's, when people start complaining about their food quality. So it's really important on how these brands are able to address certain crises that happens for their brands. So a lot of times, some of these brands do have proper escalation processes, and it is also sometimes how they rise up from this crisis that really makes or breaks your brands. And at the end of the day, even being content creators or influencers, they also do have their fair share of crisis management as well, right? So like even people in the within the beauty industry, because I'm someone who loves makeup and skincare, I have also seen my fair share of influencers who have been in this whole crisis, aka people like Jeffree Star or like Shane Dawson, even Tati, even James Charles. Those kind are also a form of crisis, and it's also very important that we always be prepared for different things that might happen because we're living our life on social media. Yes, Carol, go! You done?
Okay, I think I don't know anymore.
Yay!
Oh my God!
I hope you had fun
It was
dancing.
hard.
Right?
It was hard.
Yeah, so you feel how I feel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But did you have fun?
Oh my God, it was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun, but it was hard.
So yeah, those are some of the points for social media crisis management. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching Carol dance as well. She's
My dancing was a
professional.
crisis.
No, it wasn't.
Oh my God.
It was fun. So once again guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If this is the first time that you are watching us, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on social media, on Instagram at Social Hits. And we will see you on our next video. Bye bye.